Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. The article I have here is by verywellhealth.com. So if you like this article, you can go to verywellhealth.com. An article is How Drug Addiction Affects the Brain and Body. Let's hop into it. The drug addiction is treatable, chronic medical disease that involves complex interactions between a person's environment, brain, circuits, genetics, and life experiences. People with drug addictions continue to use drugs compulsively despite the negative effects. Substance abuse has many potential consequences, including overdose and death. Learn about the effects of drug addiction on the mind, body, and treatment options that can help. And the first one here is drug abuse versus drug addiction. While the terms drug abuse and drug addiction are often used, they are different. Someone who abuses drugs uses a substance too much, too frequently, or in otherwise unhealthy ways. However, they ultimately have control over their substance use. Someone with a drug addiction uses drugs in a way that affects many parts of their life and causes major disruptions. They continue to use drugs impulsively despite the negative consequences. And that holds true. Like I used drugs and alcohol for many, many years, despite the negative consequences. Is like I would use, I would think about the consequences later on, or as I would behave or act out, and I would think about the consequences later, not thinking and not always reactive, not responding. Right, reactive and responding is two different things. Reactive I can just spit off at the mouth, not thinking. Right, responding is processing and practicing the pause button, thinking before you act out or thinking before you respond. Um, it's definitely beneficial to recovery and to your relationships if you respond more than so that you react. And that takes time. It's a process and it's a learning experience of practicing. And it definitely takes time. Let's see here. Signs of drug addiction. The signs of drug abuse and addiction include changes in behavior, personality, and physical appearance. If you're concerned about a loved one substance use, here are some of the red flags to watch out for. It says changes in school or work performance, secretiveness. So if you're secret, hiding, not being honest and hiding things and not totally expressing yourself, that can be a sign. Relationship problems, risk-taking behavior, legal problems, aggression, mood swings, changes in hobbies or friends, sudden weight loss or gain, unexplained odors on the body or clothing. So not taking care of yourself. That's it's just one of the signs. You know what I mean? It's not always what it is, but like that can be one of the red flags of someone having uh, some kind of addiction. It says drug addiction in men and women. Men or women are equally likely to develop drug addictions. However, men are more likely than women to use illicit drugs, die from a drug overdose, and visit emergency room for addiction-related health reasons. Women are more skeptical, or I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know this word. To intense cravings and repeated relapse. So it's saying that men uh, over women that will experience overdoses and death and drug-related health problems and stuff like that more so than women. Which I guess that was the statistics shows. I don't know, but that's you know something new for me. So they're saying between men and women that however, men are more likely than women to use illicit drugs and die from drug overdoses. And it's sad. And to me, just be honest, like I don't care how many, like if it's more in men than women. You know what I mean? I stay in the solution, not the problem, and I focus on let's help the men and women with the drug addiction. You know what I mean? So it's not like more so this person, more so this person. It's just like let's focus on the problem and let's focus on getting you the help that you need. Effects of drug addiction. People can become addicted to any psychoactive, mind-altering substance. Common addictive substance includes alcohol, tobacco, nicotine, stimulants, hallucinogens, and opiates. Many of the effects of drug addiction are similar. No matter what substance someone uses, the following are some of the most common effects of drug addiction. So it says effects of drug addiction on the body. Let's see the drug addiction can lead to a variety of physical consequences ranging in seriousness from drowsiness to organ damage and death. There's a list of them. So you ready? This shadow breathing, elevated body temperature, rapid heart rate, increased blood pressure, insomnia, drowsiness, impaired coordination and slurred speech, decreased or increased appetite, tooth decay, skin damage, sexual dysfunction, seizures, kidney damage, liver damage, and cirrhosis, various forms of cancer, stroke, cardiovascular problems, lung problems, and overdoses, and death. So that's some of the effects over the body. So there's a list of them, and they're all negative. There's no good body effects that are any good. So it's just a list of negative stuff that can happen to you, and ultimately the last result is overdoses and death. We don't come in that addiction and think we're going to use drugs and alcohol and not and hopefully get in recovery, but to think that we're not going to have no internal damage. So we can get in recovery and stop using drugs and alcohol, but we can come in with a lot of talks about skin damage, tooth decay. There's a lot of things, kidney damage, cirrhosis, stuff like that. So we cause a lot of damage to our body. And if we're lucky enough, that we can take care of this stuff in recovery. And I gotta take care of my health. I gotta take care of going to the doctor on a regular basis and getting blood pressure taken, blood taken. Oh, I just want to be healthy. I don't want to get in recovery and have bad health. I want to live as long as I can. But some of us don't have the opportunity that to better our health because like sometimes we're so far gone health wise, we have complications and stuff like that. So a lot of us are blessed and fortunate, so we have to think of those things like when I use drugs and alcohol, we can experience all this stuff to our bodies, So if left untreated, drug addiction can lead to serious life-altering effects on the body. We're just talking about that a little bit. It says dependence and withdrawal also affect the body. Physical dependence refers to the reliance on a substance to function day to day. People can become physically dependent on a substance fairly quickly. Dependence does not always mean someone is addicted, but the longer someone uses drugs, the more likely their dependency has become on addiction. That physical dependency, man, like our body needs it, which is sad. Like, mentally, we might not want it, but our bodies are like craving it and experiencing withdrawal, and like we're physically dependent on some type of substance, and it makes us sick. It makes us not feel good. So, like when we're taking something day in, day out, we become addicted to it or physically dependent on it. It says withdrawal. When someone with a dependence stops using a drug, they can experience withdrawal symptoms like excessive sweating, tremors, panic, difficulty breathing, fatigue, irritability, and flu-like symptoms. Yeah, it's not fun. I experienced withdrawal many, many times, and it's not fun. And that puts a damper on your physical health, man. Disease of addiction, affects us mentally, physically, spiritually, right? So, like, it touches on all aspects, and it ruins people's lives around me. So it's like, man, when you're physically dependent and experience withdrawal, sometimes, man, it's just not fun. It's just not good. Um, and it's tough to break that, because we don't want to experience the withdrawals, but we have to. It's like we have to experience this to get through it. But there is medications and stuff like that and detoxes that you can go to lessen the impact of the withdrawals. And it changes for everybody. People's body is different, and detox can 7 to 10 days, maybe 14 days. And to me, my experience, you're still not 100% after you do the detox process. Your body still feels it, and you're mentally uh, drained. So it's like it takes time, and where we get better is we have to hold on. We have to get through this, in you instead of just running. That's one thing I used to do. I would just run. I would just go straight back to the drugs and alcohol. I didn't want to experience withdrawals. I didn't want to experience with the emotions and feelings that came with it. So I would go use more drugs and alcohol. I didn't have coping skills. I didn't have a coping mechanism. I didn't use a support system. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have, I didn't just utilize nothing, no resources that I had. I just, acted out on self will. We did what I wanted to do and always got what I got. Let's see here. It says overdose deaths in the United States. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, over 100,000 people in the U.S. died from a drug overdose in 2021. A lot of people, man. And it's climbing. It's getting worse. Just off my personal experience and what I've seen through the years, these past couple of years, you know, people are using drugs, and they want to they just want to get high or whatever the case may be, right? They want to feel something, right, or not feel something, and then in the process, the substances are so strong or mixed, they pass away, and like they don't, we don't think about that. We just think about getting what we want. We're selfish, self-centered, and we don't think about the consequences or what we think can happen. But it's more so now because everything's so strong and mixed, and people think they're going to use and they pass away, and they don't have another chance to live life, and life's crucial, man. Life is because we only have one, there's no do-overs, so it's like we only have one life, and how are we going to live it, and like I was just a shell of a person, I was just existing, not living. So that's a lot of people, 100,000 people in 2021, and that's probably just a roundabout, that's not like accurate, I don't think, but one is too many, that's what I say, one is too many. And what can we do to stay in a solution so we can lessen these numbers? That's where my solution, that's where I stick at, is the solution. Where can we help, and what can we do to prevent people from using and overdosing? It says effects of drug addiction on the brain. All basic functions in the body are regulated by the brain, but more than that, your brain is who you are and controls how you interpret and respond to life experiences and the ways you behave as a result of undergoing those experiences. Drugs alter important areas of the brain. When someone continues to use drugs, their health can demonstrate both psychological and neurological. Some of the most common mental effects of drug addiction are cognitive decline, memory loss, mood changes and paranoia, poor self-impulse control, disruption to areas of the brain controlling basic function, heart rate, breathing, sleep, etc., depression, anxiety, psychosis, Yeah, I experienced all this. You know, it really um, distorts your brain. I really had uh, limited access to what I was thinking and how I was behaving. Because I was so clouded with drugs and alcohol. Very impaired. You know, you ever see someone when somebody drinks, right? When they get arrested and the cops or whoever that arrest them, they do, sobriety tests and stuff like that. For us, when we're under the influence, we don't see that. But now, like, it's the outside looking in, it's like, wow, I was very impaired and um, just clouded with drugs and alcohol, man. Like, I couldn't function. I feel like I couldn't function without it, right? But I couldn't even function with it. So it just it's just this vicious cycle, man, of like uh, we talk about the triangle of self-obsession, right? It's always about me, what I want, and what I need, and didn't care about others, right? I didn't care of how others perceive me, or I didn't care about others' emotions and feelings, because there's people that care about us, just our families and friends and people that love and care for us, and we like put that in jeopardy just for drugs and alcohol, right? So, we're very selfish and self-centered, and it's just stuff we have to work on, not just putting down the drugs and alcohol, right? That's first and foremost, but we have to work on ourselves. We have to change our thinking and our behaviors. Let's see here. How you doing? Hey, good. So effects on drugs addiction on the behavior. Psychoactive substance affects the parts of the brain that involve reward, pleasures, and risk that produce a sense of aroma and well-being by flooding the brain with dopamine. This leads people to compulsively use drugs in search for another aroma high. The consequence of these neurological changes can be either temporary or permanent. It says difficulty concentrating, irritability, aggression, angry outbursts, lack of inhibition, decreased pleasure, enjoyment in daily life, eating, socializing, and sex. Hallucinations. Wow. Yeah, one thing I struggle with is like difficulty concentrating. That's, irritability, aggression. Talks about angry outbursts. So that's some of the things that we experience, on drugs and alcohol and coming off drugs and alcohol. That's a really big thing. So the article we have here is how drug addiction affects the brain and body. That's the article. And so we just another thing, we always talk about the drugs and alcohol, but there's things that other things can other addictions. There's food, sex, there's um a list of them. Shopping, spending money, the lifestyle of stealing and stuff like that. So that wherever it gets us out of ourselves, gives us a rush, or it's usually not too good. Usually not, it's negative. Um, so difficulty concentrating, irritability, aggression, angry outbursts. Um, it's just some of the things that we experience while we're using drugs and alcohol, and without drugs and alcohol. So it's like, what do I do when these things arise? Usually when I start working on myself and I'm doing better in life, these things lessen. Today I don't have difficulty concentrating. Yes, I do have irritability sometimes, and aggression and stuff like that. But there's things I can work on in a healthy way instead of going straight to drugs and alcohol, or sex, or a lifestyle, or whatever the case may be. There's always something I can use to avoid, um, try to avoid my problems. I try to do that for the longest is avoidance. Like I work been working on myself and writing through some step work, and avoidance was keep coming up through my step work. You know, if I avoid things, I'm just pushing it under a rug, and eventually that stuff's going to arise. You know, when I don't try, I choose to not deal with it. Sooner or later, it's going to come out sooner or later. You know, it could be in a healthy way, but a lot of times if I don't deal with it, it comes out in a negative way. It usually blows up in your face. You know, so I try to, when things happen, I try to make amends or deal with it head on, so it doesn't fester into something bigger. You know, and that's one thing I used to do in active addiction. I used to hold things in. Didn't express my emotions and feelings, and didn't express myself, and I would use people, places, and things to fill this void of not trying to focus on me. So here's some of the treatments. It says, while there is no single cure for drug addiction, there are ways to treat it. Treatment can help you control your addiction and stay drug free. The primary methods of treating drug addiction include psychotherapy. Psychotherapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or family therapy, can help someone with a drug addiction develop healthier ways or thinking and behaving. Yeah. Behavioral therapy. Common behavioral therapies for drug addiction include motivational enhancement therapy and cognitive management. These therapies approach build coping skills and provide positive reinforcement. Yeah, that's real big with like coping skills, and something I didn't have. Well, I had coping skills, but they were negative, right? Coping, using drugs and alcohol, or lashing out, or verbally being abusive. That's how I would cope with my feelings in all negative ways, right? Today I can deal with it by talking, by listening, conversating, and building relationships, and um, just dealing with it in a healthier way, so like I can better my relationships. One says medication. Certain prescribed medication can ease withdrawal symptoms. Some examples are naloxone for alcohol, buprenorphine for nicotine, and methadone for opiates. So certain medications and stuff like that, whatever your experience, there are certain things that can help you along through this process of recovery. Support groups, or no, hospitalization. Some people with drug addiction might need to be hospitalized to detox from a substance before beginning long-term treatment. Yeah, that's true. Like so I tried to detox myself, and that never worked out. Like you always want to seek professional help. You want to do the proper steps so you have long-lasting recovery. You know, I always try to do things on my own, and when I do things on my own, I usually get in trouble. So I need professional help. So support groups, peer support and self-help groups such as 12-step programs like Alcoholics Anonymous and NA can help people with drug addictions find support resources and accountability. Yes, support groups are very crucial. And like what we're doing today is a support group. You know, so like this is where I get my help at, you know, because people are just like me and can identify what I've been through or what I'm going through. That helps me a lot, you know, it really does. So the combination of medication and behavioral therapy has been found to have the highest success rates in preventing relapse and promoting recovery. Forming an individualized treatment plan with your healthcare provider, help is likely to be the most effective approach. How is addiction treated? Yeah, you want to go through the proper channels. You want to do the proper steps, so you want to have long lasting recovery. Like I can't do the first step and skip over 2, 3 and go to 4. You know, so like I have to do things uh, in the right direction, in the proper steps. I have to do. It's like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like you want to do what was suggested to you, and professional help is key, a key factor. The last one here is a summary. Drug addiction is a complex chronic medical disease that results in compulsive use of psychoactive substance despite the negative consequences. To some effects of drugs abuse and addiction include changes in appetite, mood, sleep patterns, more serious health issues such as cognitive decline, major organ damage, overdose, death. Also, risk addiction to drugs while pregnant can lead to serious outcomes for both mother and child. Yeah, so like I said earlier, if drug addiction can affect the mind, the body, and the spirit, it just doesn't touch on one thing. It affects the whole body, and that takes time to get out of that. It really takes time, but the first step is to put drugs and alcohol or whatever you're dealing with down first. Then you can deal with the situation with like a level mind, a level headed, so that was our meeting for the day. It says how drug addiction affects the brain and the body. And this article is by verywellhealth.com. My name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. Until next time, we'll see you later.